The Boys, in my opinion, is one of the best shows airing right now. It's consistently entertaining, with scenes and moments that other shows wouldn't even dare repeat. It has some of the best visual effects that you can see in a series, and above all else, regardless of the faults that it may or may not have, the Boys are some of the most iconic characters in entertainment. Homelander, Soldier Boy and Billy Butcher will all rank among some of the most memorable and iconic characters that I've ever seen on television, and all are accompanied by some genuinely excellent performances. So then, when they revealed they were making a spin-off of The Boys called Gen V, a show about a bunch of superpowered young adults going to university, a show which also wouldn't feature the characters from The Boys, although quite a few of them do show up for some extremely memorable cameos, I'll be honest, I wasn't particularly interested in watching this show, mainly because I didn't hear much about it, especially when compared to how spoken about The Boys is, and also the fact that Gen V has a noticeably lower score than The Boys on IMDb. However, I have to admit, this show really surprised me, because I really enjoyed it. It's not perfect and there aren't any characters as iconic as the ones present in The Boys, but this is quite a strong show, and I'm really looking forward to the confirmed second season. Now what you might be wondering to yourself is, can I just jump into this show, or do I need to have watched The Boys first to enjoy it? Unfortunately, I think watching The Boys is a must for this show. This show can't be enjoyed without having seen The Boys first. While it probably can be, it would still be an entertaining show, but Gen V is so closely tied to The Boys that certain things won't make sense or won't have the same weight if you haven't seen The Boys. And there are some major cameos in this series that just won't have the same impact if you don't know who that character is from The Boys. I think Gen V is a great companion show to The Boys, but it absolutely does not stand on its own 2 feet. And you would be doing yourself a disservice watching this show before you watch the first 3 seasons of The Boys. So if you shouldn't watch this show until you've seen The Boys, then why should you watch this show after you've watched The Boys? Well, first, what is Gen V even about? Gen V follows Marie Moreau, played by Jazz Sinclair. Marie is a bloodbender whose powers resulted in a very bloody accident when she was young, and she wants to make up for that and prove she has the qualities necessary to be a hero to both herself and her family. To do so, she attends God U, a university for supes like herself, who train so that they can become the best possible superheroes that they can be, and in some cases even join the Seven. However, things are not as they seem, as the university seems to be hiding a very dark secret in its own basement. Can Marie and the rest of the students uncover the mystery and then reveal it to the world? And what implications will their discovery have on the main The Boys series? Now, the reason this show works is because of its characters. Yeah, it has the same hypersexual, hyperviolent moments that only The Boys itself could replicate, and the VFX is still very strong here. The only times where I felt the VFX felt a little bit wonky was whenever Emma got really huge, but this show would not have worked had its characters not been very good, and whilst none of them quite match up to the heights of The Boys characters, I do think this show has a very strong ensemble. Marie is a pretty solid lead. She fits perfectly within The Boys universe because she wants to be a real hero, but when the reality of the corporate meddling and politics of this world set in, Marie does decide to use that to her advantage, even when she is genuinely undeserving of it. This character complexity is something that extends to the rest of the characters. As we learn more about these characters, we discover that none of them are truly heroic. None are as depraved as the characters in The Boys, but they are all in some way selfish and only doing what is best for them. I'm not going to spoil here what it is that makes them morally messy characters, but I do like that despite trying to do the right thing and be heroes, none of the characters are morally perfect. Whilst Marie is the main character, Emma is probably the best character in the group. She's funny and brightens up the screen whenever she appears, yet she has her own struggles and family issues. Like the others, she wants to be a hero, yet she isn't even a part of the classes that set up students to be a superhero. Her ability to grow or shrink is one of the more interesting ones, mainly due to the hang-up that it depends on how much that she's eaten or thrown up. Emma doesn't have as complex of a backstory as the other characters, but she makes up for that with her interesting relationships. Her friendship with Marie feels very realistic as the two bond and look out for one another, and her blossoming romance with Sam is, in my opinion, the best relationship in the entire show. She works well because she always fits the needs and tone of the scene. Want a funny moment, she'll deliver it. Want something serious, she'll deliver it. Want a moment to rival The Boys for pure insanity, she'll deliver it by going really small and literally riding a penis. She's an extremely versatile character, and Liz Broadway always delivered the necessary goods. Then there's Jordan. Now I'm going to be honest, I don't really know what Jordan's powers are, because Jordan can shapeshift between a male and female body, but they also have these additional abilities too. I don't know if I missed it, but I don't think the show ever explained what they were. It doesn't matter, I just don't know if one power is tied to the male Jordan and another power tied to the female one. But anyway, as you can probably guess, gender is one of the key struggles that Jordan has. Not with themselves, but with other people accepting them for who they are. What I like about Jordan is that although their situation could only exist in this world, Gen V still treats it in a realistic way. Jordan's parents want Jordan to be a boy because that's how they were born. And the corporate executives and whatnot act like they don't care about Jordan's situation, but in reality, they don't want to take Jordan on because someone like Jordan won't sell well. It's funny because Jordan actually tries to protect Marie at one point, and is the only one who does something heroic in the first episode. Yet Jordan's tossed to the side in favour of the more marketable characters. However, I did say that all the characters are a little messy morally, and that applies to Jordan too. Although now that I think about it, it doesn't really apply to Emma, which makes sense because she's the best. But Jordan is a very complicated character, and the show does take the time to really develop them. And I think both actors, London Thor, what a name, and Derek Liu did a great job bringing the character to life. And both of them were able to make Jordan feel consistent, despite the character being played by two actors. Now we get to the most difficult character to talk about, Andre. And that's because Chance Perdomo, the actor, sadly passed away in a motorcycle accident, which has resulted in the indefinite delay of season 2 as they figure out how to respond to his real life death. It is tragic when anyone dies, but there's a real feeling of pain you get when you see his scenes in Gen V. He plays such a significant role and would have played an equally significant one in season 2 as well. It's heartbreaking knowing they had so much potential in the industry, and now we'll never get to see it, and he'll never get to experience it. As a character, Andre is very good. He initially comes across as the most likeable and down-to-earth of all the characters, but then as we learn more about him, we discover that he's not as respectable as we first thought. He isn't really a bad guy and actually wants to be a hero, but he also screws up and makes bad decisions, but it's his guilt over those screw-ups and decisions that make him want to do the right thing. And his complicated relationship with his father really adds to that. It is really upsetting knowing that Chance Perdomo will never get the opportunity to reprise his role as Andre because we were all looking forward to it, and he undoubtedly would have smashed it out of the park. I'm curious as to how the show will handle this tragedy given Andre's prominence and the fact that it felt like his character's arc was truly only just beginning. Sam and Cate are two characters that it's really hard to talk about without going into spoilers, but I'm going to do my best here. Cate is the character who my opinion of flipped the most. One minute I hated her because she came across as the annoying popular girl, next minute I felt sorry for her given the true way people perceive her and her power. Then I hate her again, and then I feel terrible for her given her upsetting backstory and the realisation that at her core, Cate is just a really sad little girl just looking for a connection with someone. She's a shockingly brilliant character, and Maddie Phillips absolutely played Cate to perfection. Sam, on the other hand, is just a likeable dork, which is why his very dark and lonely story makes you really root for and sympathise with him. The story constantly tries to drag him down a darker path, but you're always hoping that Emma will be able to pull him down a better one. I'm unsure where they're going to take Sam's character in the end, but I'll always be hopeful that he makes the right decision, and Asa German absolutely smashed this role. The last character I'm going to talk about is also my favourite, Golden Boy. Golden Boy is by far the most tragic character in the show and easily the closest to feeling like an actual hero. He genuinely seems to want to do the right thing, but he's constantly got people around him trying to steer him in the wrong direction. He's being positioned as the next Homelander and groomed accordingly, and inevitably, like Homelander, he snaps. Except Golden Boy's snapping is far more tragic than Homelander's. You'll probably go into this show expecting Golden Boy to be another Homelander or this jock stereotype, but he's actually the furthest thing from it, which makes his story even sadder. You'll realise that Golden Boy was a far more apt name than you initially expected. He wasn't in this show as much as I was expecting him to be, but he really brightened up the screen whenever he showed up. Hashtag justice for my boy, Golden Boy. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick Schwarzenegger ended up going on to bigger and better things after this show, because he's definitely a great actor. Gen V is a really good show. It might not escape The Boy's shadow, but it definitely builds on the great foundation that was already there. The special effects continue to be top notch. Like The Boys, there are moments in this series that will cause your jaw to drop because of the sheer insanity that you're witnessing. The story is entertaining and has larger implications for The Boys, and the characters are all fantastic and are carried by exceptional performances. It may not be a must watch, and if you're not a fan of The Boys then this certainly won't change your mind, but for those who do love The Boys, I highly recommend this show because I doubt that it will let you down. But that is just my opinion. What's yours? Have you seen this show? Did you like it? Do you like The Boys too? Which do you prefer, The Boys or Gen V? And who's your favourite character in Gen V? And also who's your favourite character in The Boys? Mine is Homelander. But do let me know the answers to all those questions down in the comments below. And whilst you're down there, do be sure to hit the like button. It significantly boosts this video in the YouTube algorithm. And if you're feeling especially generous, then do consider subscribing. I'm hoping to hit 1000 subscribers before the end of the year, and it's looking very doable. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.
Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck my life. Fuck this. Fuck off.
No, not this high.
Fucking cunts.
He normally just lands.
Holy shit. Okay, please, let's go.